Thank you for doing this, Jacki, interview. I first saw you in the Cinderella pantomime. I was very impressed by your performance, and I was right. You're still having a fabulous career. So far, 73 plays, 53 films, and 56 hours of television in the last 10 years. So what are some of your favourite roles?
Right. Well, I'd just like to say first, Priscilla, you must have been a toddler when you saw me in Cinderella. You're much younger than I am. Anyway.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Same age.
I was 15 when I auditioned for Cinderella. I went in my school uniform, Hornsby Girls High School, and I went in my school uniform and got the role. Though I did that was my first professional job. I'd done lots of amateur theatre before that. But, out of 73 plays, I've got young friends who told me I've done at least 100, but I lost count after. I tried to count them because people always want to ask how many. I think I love doing stop art. I've done a couple of stop art. The Real Thing was one of my favorites. I love doing Shadowlands, where I played Joy Gresham, the American poet. I love doing Chekhov. I think I've done Uncle Vanya, Three Sisters, and The Seagull. I used to love doing the Wharf Review. One of my greatest triumphs was playing the koala. I've never had such a huge response for so little effort on my part. But yeah, and Cinderella, when I started in 1962, that was a huge pleasure. Yeah, I haven't been on stage for a while. Not since Uncle Vanya was in New York and Washington D.C.
Mm-hmm.
I do love being on stage, but it's a little more, just from a practical point of view, to remember 3 hours of dialogue is a lot more difficult than remembering, say, 10 minutes of dialogue, which is what you get with the cinema. So yeah.
Okay. And at Marian Street, you did 3 plays, I think. You did Hay Fever for Alex Archdale.
Yes.
Cast for Peter Collingwood and Silhouette for Peter Whitford. Do you have any memories of those plays?
I love doing all of those. It's a lovely space, Marian Street. I was so sad when I heard it was closing down, and I think it's wonderful it's going to open again. Alex Archdale, when it was still called the Kalara Community Theatre, Alex ran it then, and he was in Hay Fever too, as well as directing it, and Anne Hattie and Joan Bruce, wonderful actresses. It was a fabulous time. I had such a good time. I learned so much working with those fantastic people. And cast, Jennifer Hagan, Peter Whitford, that was when Peter Collingwood ran it, and his wife Marjorie used to have a little restaurant, and you could go and eat beforehand before you went and saw the show. It was lovely, beautiful theatre. Yeah.
So, having lived in Ku-ring-gai, I suppose you appreciate the value of the Marian Street Theatre being in Ku-ring-gai.
Well, I think every community deserves their own theatre. I think cinema's wonderful. I love the cinema, but when you have a live theatre experience, I mean, you can do anything in a beautiful theatre like that. You can do an avant-garde performance piece. You can have beautiful music recitals. You can do hundreds of years worth of hundreds of classics, or you can do really interesting contemporary plays. There's no end to and also being part of an audience and being an actor with an audience responding to you. There's nothing like it. There's nothing quite like it. It's a great experience, and every community deserves their own theatre. I'm so thrilled about Marian Street coming back.
Great. Well, this year so far we've seen your 3 of your films, Grudge, Stage Mother and Never Too Late. Plus, we haven't seen it in Australia, but your television series Bloom went into its second series. And you've just come back from working in Montana. What was that project?
That was called, what was it called?
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. Yellowstone, which is very popular. It's one of the most popular shows apparently on television at the moment, starring Kevin Costner. And Montana's fantastic. You can't say Montana here, they laugh at you. It's like Nevada. You have to say, is it Nevada or Nevada? It's Nevada. They think we speak funnily as it is. So yeah, I haven't seen Grudge. It's a horror film. It's really, really, I can't watch horror films, and yet I do quite a few of them.
One of my nieces, who's in her 20s, was thrilled that I was talking to you and you were in Grudge.
She'd probably like Bird Box. That was
Yes.
one of the most popular films ever on Netflix. Yeah, I was in that, and I can't watch that either. I hate horror films. They're fun to make. I love lots of blood and stuff, but my poor old heart can't take a fright.
And have you got anything you're working on for the future you can talk about?
Well, I'm doing a film in Salt Lake City in a few weeks. They have very strict protocols now because, as you would be aware, the COVID situation in America is just about the worst in the world.
Yes.
So that's probably happening in December, but who knows? They might shut everything down by then. I did have 4 projects lined up for this year, but they've all been, put on standby. I was going to do a film in Berlin, and I was very disappointed that has to be postponed.
Yes.
Berlin's wonderful.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for talking to us, and I think hopefully you might be around when the theatre opens. You might be in Australia. That would be fabulous.
How long does they think the theatre's going to
They're
be?
supposed to be starting in June next year, and then they'll take till the end, 18 months to finish it.
Will it have a restaurant?
Yes. and it's
My husband just said she'll be in a bloody wheelchair by then.
I sent you some sketches. They're really opening up the side from Selkirk Park, which is going to be really good. It'll have a restaurant. It'll have an amphitheatre, the theatre, of course, and then another 2 spaces for education and community events.
That's fantastic. That's really great.
So thank you very much.
It's lovely to talk to you, Priscilla.
Bye.
Bye.